Hello everyone, my name is Nia and I come from group 12. Our group has 5 members, and they are Nguyễn Tuấn Nghĩa, Phan Quang Tuấn, Nguyễn Tổ Uyên, Đào Xuân Tới, and Nguyễn Trung Kiên. So our group project is about an e-commerce and its web application name is Bookworm. So come to our table of contents. So firstly, I'm going to introduce about the project. And secondly, I'm going to talk about the requirements. And last but not least, it's a sequence diagram. So first one is a project introduction. Right. About the technologies, we use Spring Boot. We mainly use Spring Boot with Timeleap and REST API to develop our web applications. We also use a Hibernate, Lombok, and JPA as an implementation for our object relational mapping. For the database, we use MySQL. And when it comes to the view layout, we use Bootstrap 4.3.1 and Ajax for client manipulate with REST API. And about the authentication, we use Spring Boot and security as an authentications and authorization. So come to the application feature, we have the feature of admin, we have the feature of the seller, and the feature of the buyer. So we have 3 main roles in our project, and I'm going to talk through about each role's features in more details. So, but I'm going to use an use case diagram for easy for better understanding. Right. So here's our use case diagrams. We have 3 main roles: the buyer, the seller, and the admin. So the buyer, he can register and he can log in, log out. And when he log into the website, the first thing he can do is to see the list of product, and he can manage the shopping cart, like he can add to cart, he can delete to cart. He can also manage order, like placing the order, printing the recipe, and checking order history and maintain order, and also canceling the order. So after he maintain order, he can maintain the payment and the billing address, the shipping and the billing address. And he can also write the review, but in order to do this, he has to receive after submitting your comment, he needs a permission from the admin. So for the seller, well, first of all, he has to, of course, register for an account, and he can manage the product and create and CRUD the product, right? He can also manage the order, like maintain the order, canceling the order, and change the order status. So the last row is the administrator. He can manage the review, which basically is to approve the review, like the comment from the buyer. He can add some advertisement to the slider, like as a view product, as the main product. And the last one is to get approval from, like he can give permission for a user to become a seller. So now come to the activity diagrams. So this is a seller activity diagrams. So he can log in, and the system is going to check it if it is invalid or not. If it's invalid, then you have to come back to login view again. And if it is valid, yeah, you can proceed to the next step. So the next step, including all the use case that I've just mentioned before in the use case diagram, like add category, manage item, manage order, and then you can finally log out. For the customer activity diagram, it's pretty similar with the seller, right? You can log in, authentication, and you have to check if it's invalid or not, and come to the display book. You can see the list of the product. And if you want to order a book, you can order it, and you can order. So there are 2 options. You can order 1 book, you can order a combo, and when everything is done, you can display a complete order and come back to the display book. And so if you want to keep ordering something, then just gonna do all the steps again, like order book, check order combo, order 1 book. But if you do not want to order anything more, you can come to the payment view. You can have 2 options, like you have the credit card, you can pay on delivery, and then you log out. So that's all about the activity. Oh, and the last one is admin diagram, admin activity diagram. He can also log in. So of course he can log in, he can, authentication and everything again. And the use case is the same with the use case diagram that's mentioned before, like manage user, manage account, and manage recipe, and logout. So that's all about the activity diagrams from 3 roles like admin, use, seller, and buyer. So the last diagram is an ERD. So in this diagram we have these entities like product, like seller, user, advert, message, cart item, category, orders, and buyer, and following, blah blah blah. So actually, if we so the ERD is quite a bit complicated, and so since the time is limited, so we're not going to spend too much time like diving deep down into the detail of this diagram. So I'm gonna leave that later. So for the next part, the next section is a sequence diagram. And so my friend Phan Quang Tuấn is gonna continue presenting our screencasting. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tuấn for joining me. So hello everyone, I'm Phan Quang Tuấn. So thank you for joining me into the screencast. So now I will talk about the sequence diagram. So because of the time limit, so I will introduce to you guys two striking features, that is add product to the cart and the get product list. So start with the first one, add product to the cart. I will talk to you with the code in here, so we can have a better view of it. So with the add product to the list, add product to the cart, we will first in the home controller. So we will find the user by email. We will interact with user service, and then user service implement. So finally, we go to the user repository. So it will return a user instance in here. So if the user instance is not now, so we will go to the next step with the do the same with the product here. So we will find by ID, and it will return an object of a product. And same thing with the buyer. So finally, we will create a product list, get the product list of item in here, and then we will set the get ID and set the product for that item, and save it with the cart item service and cart service implement. And if everything is done, so it will return true in here. And for the get product list sequence diagram, we will start in the product controller. So we will get in the product controller, we will get the product list. We will get the user by email in here. And then we will get the seller by user. And finally, we will modify the attribute of the product for the sellers that we previously achieved in the previous step. You can see that in here. Get product by seller, and then find product by seller. And if everything is done, is return a HTML here. So that's all about the sequence diagram. So I will like demo some features that I've talked about and I've talked about in the use case diagram. So the first one, we should have pull the code from the GitHub that I have attached in the project report. So I have done it in here, so I can get the file, open in IntelliJ. So the first thing we have to create a database named Bookworm or anything you like in here. So I have created one in here, and you use a data import in here and select the database that I have attached in the source code here. The link of that file I have attached in the project README. Yeah, you can see in here everything I written in detail in here. So you import the file to the database you have created, Bookworm, and start import. So once you have import, you can go to the application properties and change the database name and the password according to your preference. And then you can start running your applications. So we just run it. Yeah. So I use the default local host with the port 8080. And we can finally see the home page of the shop. Yeah. So we will and click into the one of the item. And if we click add to the cart in here, we have to log in. But first, let's check out some other features like searching. Yeah. Or filter by category. Yeah. Something like that. So we will try to log in as the buyer. So the account for the buyer I already write down in the readme.md here. Yeah, account for buyer. So one important thing that if we every time we click in the home page, the item in here will be randomly displayed by a I believe that's some action in the home controller. Yeah, the collection.shuffle in here. So that it will randomly display. So if we click in one book in here and click add to the cart, yeah, the new one will be add to the cart, and then we click checkout, and we type some necessary bill in here. So we have two options, that credit card and debit card. Yeah, of course, these features is for demo only. It's not the real one that we can use in real life. So that we still use for demo. This is the demo versions. So we click if the place order in here, and it is completely flag as new order in here. So that's some important thing for buyer. And the other, you can watch the history, the order, the card, because we already placed the order, so the card is no longer exists because it's moved to the order history. Or we can update our profile in here, and we can follow some shop in here or unfollow it. I will demo this. Can unfollow and follow again. Like shop Fennec in here, we click follow, and it's done. Yeah, Fennec is followed. And the second step, I will log in maybe with the seller, but I want to register an account for demo. In registrations, we have two options, the buyer or the seller. You can see with the buyer in here, and or the seller in here. It look very similar to each other. So I will demo with the seller. So we go to the login page. But in here, if we want to log in, it will message alert the message that the user is disabled. So for using that account, we need approved by the admin. So that I need to log in as the admin to approve that account I have created before. Yeah, and the account for admin I already write down in here, and I will use it. So in the admin, we have some, this is the dashboard of the admin, and then we will see that we can approve some shop in here. Yeah, SC shop for the seller. I can reject or approve. So I will approve it. And you can use the seller now. But some important I have to tell you that the admin cannot buy new books. He cannot add the item. Only the buyer can buy items. The admin and the seller cannot buy item. And some other features for the admin we can see in here. We can manage the message. We can manage the ad in here. We can add a new ad in here. Yeah. For this carousel ad in here. We can also manage the command that the user submitted. Seller I already have in introduction to you. So that's about the admin. And let's move back to the seller. Login as the seller. I already approved it, so it should be work right now. Yeah. And the seller also cannot buy item. And everyone who access the page can also see the comment in here. And the shop also cannot follow itself or other shop. But it still can use some features like filter by category and searching. So in the dashboard of the shop, we can see the message. You can see the order for the shop, change the profile of the shop, and change the item for the shop. But because the shop, this is a new shop, so that is no item right now, and no follower. So I will log in as some predefined seller for a fast. Yeah, this is the order list, and this is the product list. I introductions in introductions to you by before. Yeah, yeah. And the follower. So that's all about the live demos. And some important thing I want to mention. We use Figma in here to design our user interface. Yeah. For the mobile bus is maybe for the deadline, so we still the maybe it's look like you can see it by the responsive view, so it will display the mobile versions, and this is the web versions. So that's all about my part. And the next step, the next member of the group, Lão Xuân Tới, will talk to you about some advanced features of the front end we have implement. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tuấn, for your introduction about me. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tới, and I'm responsible for presenting about front-end part because we use timeless in our project, so we will have two main directory was installed in the resources. The first one is static, and the second one is templates. Let's go to the first one. In the static file, we have four directory. The first one is CSS, the second one is image and JS and banner. In the CSS directory, we just override the default attribute of Bootstrap and we customize it as our prototype. And go to the next one, it is image directory. Here we have the avatar directory and we have the image for avatar. We have the admin and this image will be just in the case when the user register an account and the image will be set as default for the user. This image due for buyer and this image for seller and this image for admin. But we just can register account at the row buyer and seller and the row admin we have set it before. Go to the next directory, we have the background image, and this is our background in the login page and the register page. You can see here. And go to the next one is the logo. We have the logo that we have designed it, and we set it in the navigation bar. Okay, let's move on to the JS directory. This is the most important thing I want to mention in our presentation in front-end part. You can see here we have the go to the card.js file. We have an method called loadcat, and we use the Ajax technology in this case. Let's go to the detail of this method. We have the method, the request method is get and URL buyer shopping cart, and this URL we have been already defined as the controller, and we have two more to the next code. It is content type, application JSON, and data type JSON. This just be like code to notify to the server that um, in order to server can return the JSON data type. And because I check it's kind of asynchronous activity, so we will receive two methods in this case. It include success and error. In the case, the success is mean this route match with the controller and with suitable data type here, and we will have a callback, and we have the parameter here. With parameter is card, and the data from the controller will return here and assign a tag to here. It's just return an array of object product, and then we follow it and return the HTML. And in the case, the method, the check have some error, it will match with this method. We just pop up one sentence and just display and pop up and display the message arrow while request. It's often happen when some case it includes the internet connection or the route here not matched with the controller. Yeah, and this method will be called when we access to the dashboard of buyer. Let me log into buyer. You can see here. Oh, right. When we go to this dashboard and the and this method will be called, and the line of code here also be called. Let's go to the next one. It is an event listener. We get rep to remove item. This just be an get rep to an button have an class is remove item. You can see here. Let me inspect it. This button have a class is item remove. Yeah, you can see here. And we add for it one click event. It means when we click on this button, the line of code here will happen. Okay, let's see. Firstly, we get item ID from this code, and then we pass it into URL here, and with the type delete, content type, and data type iteration. In the case success, this method will be called, and the case arrow, this we just control this arrow. Um, this each this also is a route we have defined before in the controller, and when this code run, the database will remove the item from from this item have the ID like this. Okay, let me add some more product in my cart. You can see here, and I will open the network, reload again. You can see here the shopping cart firstly is called with the route buyer shopping cart, and the request method is get. Status is 200 is min successfully. And we can see the response here. The server returns two products in an array, and it's stored in an object. Each product is an object in an array. And when we click the remove button, the line of code here will be called and an request URL will be called is buyer slash cart slash remove 21. In this case, the item with the ID 21 will be removed with the method delete and status 200. In this case, the item with the ID 21 have already been removed in the database, so we can check database will not display it more. Move on to the next one. We have the decrease button and the increase button here. You can see here. We also use the eject technology and pass the URL and pass the ID of item, and with the type put. In this case, we when we update any product or anything in our database, we should use type is put. It is the most suitable one when we set, and the data type have the same logic with the previous one. And here I want to um, mention to this. It is why we use the eject here, not use the controller return directly when we use a tag. Oftenly, we just use the a tag for the button plus or minus or remove. But in this case, we use the eject because when we use eject, we click on it, the icon here, or talk with the another way, it is our page will not be reload. So it is the benefits of eject. But when we use the attack here, the icon here will reload our web page. Okay. The following code is also the same. We just use the eject, and the next file also have the same logic, so I will not mention it more. Okay, go to the vendor directory. In this directory, we just store the library that need in our project, such as the funnel white sum. We just need the name of of this icon. Then we can get the icon in our browser. Okay, move on to the second one. Is a template. We have account admin, buyer, and layout seller, and the other file. Go to the first one, account. Um, Here I will explain a little bit why with you account is a single directory in this case. Because when we log in or register an user, we have two kind of role. The first one is seller, and the second one is buyer. But in the buyer, we do not have two more field here. In the seller, we have two more field. It is shop name and shop description. So that is the reason why we divide this directory into a single directory. And go to the admin and buyer and seller. In this case, because some of the role here will have the different function, so we divide it into the different directory, and of course the HTML file here is also be different. Go to the layout file. We have the fragment and the nav. Actually, the directory just include the general one that used in the all of the role in our project. It include admin, buyer, and seller. And the three next one is 403 and 404. An arrow, 3 file here, we just due to notify to user, it mean client. In the case, some of case maybe like internet connection have some problem, or some problem from the server. Some of web page here will display to notify to client. And the next one is the index.html file. When we access to our website, and the first one we will see is index.html. Okay, the last one is product.html file. When we click on this product, so the product.html file will be rendered here. Okay, that is all about our presentation. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Yeah, so some important thing I want to talk about. So I'm Phan Quang Tuấn, and two other members of the presentations is Nguyễn Tuấn Nghĩa and Đào Xuân Tới. So thank you for listening.